You could be the most giving, loyal, beautiful woman in the room and still feel like you're becoming invisible to the man you care about, not because you're not enough, but because certain behaviors, often rooted in love or fear, quietly tell him you don't see your own worth. As a psychology expert, I've watched countless women unknowingly give away their power, hoping to feel chosen, secure, or loved. But here's the truth. The way a man values you is often shaped by how you value yourself. In this video, I'll break down 7 things that can silently kill your value in a man's eyes. And I promise, this isn't about blame. It's about awareness, healing, and reclaiming your confidence. Stay with me until the end, because the last one, it's the most invisible and the most damaging. 1. Overgiving without receiving. You love deeply. You show up. You give your time, your energy, your heart, because that's who you are. But here's the hard truth. When giving becomes one-sided, it doesn't feel like love anymore. It starts to feel like desperation. Psychologically, this is known as the caretaker trap. It's when your need to be loved turns into a need to be needed. You keep giving, hoping he'll see your worth. But in his subconscious mind, it sends a different message. She must not believe she's enough unless she's constantly proving it. And that's when your value begins to drop. Not because you're less, but because you're acting like you believe you are. A high-value connection isn't about overextending yourself. It's about mutuality, where love flows both ways. So ask yourself, am I giving to connect, or am I giving to be chosen? 2. Seeking constant reassurance. You ask him if he's still interested. You wonder why he hasn't texted back yet. You replay conversations in your head, looking for signs of doubt or distance. It's not that you're clingy, it's that your nervous system is wired to fear disconnection. In psychology, we call this anxious attachment. It forms when love, in your past, felt unpredictable. So now, even the smallest shift in tone or timing feels like a threat. And you search for safety in his reassurance. But here's what happens. Every time you look to him to soothe your self-worth, you're unknowingly telling him, you don't fully trust yourself, and that creates a shift. Men are drawn to women who feel emotionally grounded, not perfect, not always confident, but secure enough not to need constant proof that they're loved. So instead of chasing reassurance, practice returning to your center. That's where your true value lives. 3. Ignoring red flags to keep the peace. You see the little things, the way he dismisses your feelings, the comments that sting, but you laugh them off, the broken promises you tell yourself aren't that big of a deal. You stay silent, not because you don't notice, but because you're afraid that speaking up might push him away. This is what psychology calls the fawning response, a survival mechanism where you try to stay safe by pleasing others, even if it means betraying yourself. But here's the danger. Every time you ignore your boundaries to keep the peace, you teach him that your limits are flexible, that your voice can be overlooked, and over time, your value diminishes, not in your true worth, but in how he perceives it. Because respect fades where boundaries disappear. So ask yourself, are you avoiding conflict or avoiding your truth? The cost of peace should never be your self-respect. 4. Pretending to be low maintenance. You say you're fine when you're not. You downplay your needs. You laugh off things that hurt just to seem easy to love. Because somewhere deep down, you worry, if I ask for too much, I'll lose him. But here's what psychology reveals. When you suppress your needs to maintain closeness, you're not building connection, you're building resentment. Men might be drawn to your cool, laid-back energy at first, but over time, they sense the emotional distance. They don't know what you really feel because you've trained yourself to hide it. Authenticity is magnetic. It's not about being dramatic or demanding. It's about being real, honest, and emotionally available. When you pretend you don't need anything, you teach him to give you nothing. So the next time you're tempted to bite your tongue, ask, am I protecting the relationship or erasing myself inside it? 5. Always being available. You answer every call. You reply to every text within seconds. You rearrange your life just to see him, even when he barely tries to do the same. At first, it feels like love, like devotion, like showing him you care. But here's the psychology behind it. When something is always available, the brain registers it as less valuable. It's called the law of scarcity. We unconsciously desire what we can't easily have. So when you're constantly accessible, constantly accommodating, you don't seem generous. You seem too easy to reach. Not because you are, but because you've stopped prioritizing yourself. A high-value woman has a full life. She doesn't cancel her plans for breadcrumbs of attention. She loves deeply, but she also protects her energy. So ask yourself, am I being loving, or am I trying to earn love by erasing my own needs? Your time is precious. Start treating it that way, and he will too. 6. Avoiding vulnerability. Out of fear. You keep things light. You smile when you're hurting. You hold back your true feelings because you're scared of being too much. It's safer that way, all right? But psychology teaches us something powerful. Real connection requires real vulnerability. Without it, relationships stay surface level, no matter how much time you spend together. When you guard your emotions to avoid rejection, you also block intimacy. And over time, he may feel like he's with someone, but not truly close to them. Men crave emotional safety just as much as women do. And ironically, when you hide your heart, you don't come off as strong, you come off as unreachable. Strength isn't about pretending you're okay. It's about being brave enough to say, I'm scared, I care. This matters to me. So the question is, are you protecting your heart, or are you building walls so high no one, including him, can find their way in? 7. Making him your emotional center. You feel his mood shift, and suddenly your whole day is off. You wait for his text to feel validated. His approval feels like the air you breathe. But here's the truth. When you make someone else the center of your emotional world, you're not just putting him first, you're losing yourself in the process. Psychologically, this is called emotional codependence. It's when your sense of worth and stability becomes intertwined with his, instead of being rooted in your own sense of self. A man respects and is drawn to a woman who has her own emotional grounding, who knows her worth and doesn't need anyone else to define it. When your emotional world revolves around him, you're teaching him that you come second, and no one is ever truly valued when they're in the background of someone else's life. So ask yourself, am I trying to find myself through him, or am I already whole, just waiting to share it with the right person? You deserve to be your own emotional center. When you are, love becomes an enriching connection, not a rescue mission. The twist, you've been hearing a lot about what lowers your value, but here's the real truth no one talks about. It's not about changing who you are to be more valuable in a man's eyes. The secret is this: a high-value woman isn't someone who tries to prove her worth. She's someone who simply knows it. When you fully understand your value, you stop playing games to get attention. You stop dimming your light to make room for someone else. You stop measuring your worth by the man standing next to you. You stand tall on your own, not because you're perfect, but because you believe you are enough just as you are. That's when love becomes a true partnership. When you don't have to prove anything, you just are. So let go of the need to constantly prove yourself. Instead, invest in your own growth, your own happiness, and watch how the right people are naturally drawn to the woman who knows her worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. I hope today's video has helped you see just how important it is to truly own your value, because when you do, everything changes. Remember, you don't need to earn love. You just need to be yourself, the best, most authentic version of you. When you stop looking for validation outside of yourself, you'll find that everything you desire in love and relationships starts flowing to you. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, comment, and share your thoughts below. I'd love to hear which point resonated with you the most. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because I've got even more life-changing tips coming your way. Stay strong, stay authentic, and most importantly, stay true to your value.